we work with carousels. Carousel in Bootstrap. How do we work with Bootstrap carousels? We learned about that. Now, after understanding about the carousels, how to deal with the carousels, other important Bootstrap components we are going to discuss. So the last one was carousel. The previous one, carousel, we learned about how to design them and how to use them, how to design and use these. Okay, let's take a look about how to deal with the other options, right? So the carousel options, how to present them and what are attributes with them, we learned. Next important, after understanding that, today we are going to discuss about another option is Bootstrap uh, collapse. So Bootstrap, how to deal with the collapse options, how do we work with the collapse options, right? So collapse, so it is used to define a container which can be hidden and displayed dynamically, which can be hidden and displayed dynamically. We can hide, we can display dynamically. So hidden and display dynamically. So please everyone turn off your videos, otherwise I will remove them permanently from the classroom. Your videos, your audio, everyone turn off them. If I see anyone has their videos, I will remove them permanently. Right? Yeah. So how to define the container, so which can be displayed dynamically and which can be shown dynamically. Actually, for that, we have to use some Bootstrap classes. Bootstrap provides classes, and what are those important classes? So we have a class like description. So what are the classes we have? So we have a class like collapse. Collapse is a class. And we have collapsing. Collapsing is a class. And we have a collapse show. Collapse show is a class. So these are the attributes that we define. These are the classes that you use generally. So collapse is nothing but it specifies the area to be collapsed. it specifies an area to be collapsed. We can define the area to be collapsed. So collapsing is for defining animation, is for defining animation while collapsing. While collapsing means hidden, right? And collapse show, that means it is used to, so it is used to show content. Show content. It is used to display the content. It is used to show the content. Collapse show is to show the content. These are the options we use. So JavaScript attributes. So we have JavaScript attribute and description. So for collapse, JavaScript attributes important we use. One is data target. Data target. Data target, it specifies which area to be collapsed. And data toggle, it is used to on and off. It is used to on and off collapse. It is used to on and off the collapse. We have to handle that by using these two attributes, data target and data toggle. Right. So usually these are used by, so note is generally you can assign data target and toggle for anchor href or button element. You can use for anchor href or button element. Right. How it works, let's see how it is used. One simple example we will see. For that we need all these files. So head section is common. What are the files we need? Bootstrap CSS, Bootstrap jQuery, Bootstrap bundle.js. So let's add a new file. So collapse.html. Okay, head section is same. In the body section, we are adding the contents. So I will keep a div and a class as container. Okay. And here we defined as collapse demo. Okay. So below this, so we are adding a button. Okay. So this button has options like suppose show, hide, like options are there. And below the button, we will add a div here. Yeah, in this div, we want to keep some content. In the div, we want to keep some content. So that means the div will have some heading. So this is like suppose Bootstrap, and it can have some paragraph information. So let's put some paragraph information here. Some paragraph information is kept there. Okay, there is some paragraph information here. So that is defined there. Okay. Now important is, so this is the button and the content inside it. Let's save this. This is the collapse. Here I am just using a button class as btn and btn primary. Okay, you can see that is the button appearance we are having. So important here, this bootstrap and the paragraph, it should be shown or hidden according to our requirement. Dynamically we need to do that. That means which part should be collapsed. This paragraph should be collapsed. That means this div should be collapsed. So for this div, we will apply a class. We will apply a class called collapse. We will apply a class called collapse. Okay. And it should have a reference ID. ID is collapse. So demo. Collapse demo is the ID. Collapse area. Suppose that is the ID. Okay. Now ID is used for referring it. If we want to refer it, we have to use it. Right. Inside that, you can keep the content anyway. Okay. That means which area you want to collapse. You have to define collapse class and a ID. When it should collapse, on the button click, it should collapse. That means for button, we have to define attributes. What are the attributes? Attribute is, for the button, we have to define data hyphen toggle is equal to. That means toggle means on and off. Which one should be on and off? So collapse should be on and off. That means the collapse should be on and off. Okay. And we have to define data target. Which collapse should be on and off? Because there can be several collapse. Which collapse should be on and off? The collapse ID. Hash collapse ID is collapse area. Collapse area is the ID. That's how we have to define data target. So what to collapse? Toggle means on and off the collapse. And which collapse? Because there can be several collapse. Which collapse should be on and off? That you have to decide by using this ID, collapse area. Collapse area means it will on and off this one, on and off the collapse below. I will save this now and I refresh here. You can see by default that collapse area is not there. I click on show button, so then it has to display that collapse area. On show button click, it has to display. That means to show, we need to add one more attribute. What is the attribute we need to add to show? So we need to keep a button behavior. We have to keep a button behavior. And what is the button behavior? So by default, button behavior is nothing but we have to give the button, because actually the button is submit button. So for the button, we have to define type. So the button type, what is the type? Type is button. We have to give the button type. Okay, then when button type is defined, so again, few more points are required here. By default, it is hidden. That's fine. It is hidden. So there is no problem in that. And you define that it should display. And important is we need to display and hide the control. And for displaying and hiding the control, so we need to make sure that this jQuery have the problems, right? Once open your debugger, here jQuery have some issues. So jQuery.js is not having that. Accidentally deleted. I will keep it. So that means in our project in node modules, so jQuery dist jQuery file is removed. Accidentally it is deleted, not there. I will keep that. So npm install jQuery. Because I reinstalled this my machine, few files were missing there. Okay, fine. Now jQuery. So once reload this and in the node modules, jQuery is there now. Fine. Okay, fine. jQuery and Bootstrap are working. Okay. Now I need to define type as button and configured it. Okay. Now I click on show, then it has to display. So bundle, Bootstrap bundle also have a problem. I will load its location also one more time. Script source is equal to node modules in that Bootstrap. So bootstrap dot dist.js bootstrap bundle dot js is not there, right? So bootstrap bundle dot js is not there. So the minified mapping files are there. Something Bootstrap also jQuery corrupted here. I will install that Bootstrap also. Update npm install Bootstrap. Because due to some technical issues, I reinstalled all the project, my system files. I removed few things. So that's the reason I need to import them again. Okay, script source is equal to node modules. Okay, in Bootstrap dist.js bootstrap bundle.js. Okay, that is also ready. Fine. I click on show, then it has to display that. Again, I click on show, then it should hide that area. You can see by default, without writing any logic, I can use show or hide. Show or hide. We can add for any element. Generally, we use for buttons, or we can even use for anchor. Suppose I can keep it for an anchor also. Suppose I am adding an anchor. Anchor also I am giving a class called btn and btn link, and it says show hide, and you can see this is a link style. So we have a link style, and on link click also I want that. Then what we can do is here for links, how we can define. So we have to define for the links also same attributes. What are those attributes? Toggle. It should, which one? Data toggle. It should toggle the collapse area. It should toggle collapse area. So data toggle should be collapse. And the data target, that is defined by using href. Href hash is equal to collapse area that we defined by using href. So we don't use any data target, because if it is target, link can have target by using href. That's what we defined here. You can assign data target and data toggle for data toggle. I will make it clear. So for button and data data target for anchor href, so this is how we have to configure. Data target and toggle should be for button, and data target you have to define for href. For anchor href we have to use that. So we can configure through href and we can define it. Now once I save this, I will refresh here and I click on this button and it has to display that area. That is this time a link. I click on the link, it should display that again. So we can show and we can hide the contents that we can manage by using collapse. Dynamically we can handle that by using collapse. Of course, at a time on button click you can handle multiple also. You can handle multiple also. How we can handle multiple? What we can do is for all of them we can give a class name, same class name, and we can use the same class name for all of them. Suppose there are multiple areas you want to show and hide. So because ID means only one. If you want multiple, then you give the class name. Based on the class name also you can access, and you can handle multiple. More than one can be hidden or displayed, so that we can manage, right? So that is multiple. By using multiple also we can manage. A different example I will show you how we can handle that more than one. So the basic point, you can keep your content anywhere and you can show and hide the content. Actually, to handle such show hide animations, this is basic example. So I will copy that and I will paste that example here. This is the basic example for how we can display and hide the contents. Now, for example, you can keep a picture or a table or anything inside that area, so that which can be shown or hidden, which can be displayed or hidden. We can configure anything. To handle such collapse, Bootstrap provides accordion. Remember, such options are available directly with jQuery also, that I will teach you in jQuery. Depending on situation, you can use that direct jQuery or you can use Bootstrap. It depends on your requirement. So Bootstrap has accordion style also. What is accordion? That means actually you should know that accordion is a wrapper. Accordion is a wrapper used to enclose a group of containers which can toggle the display. I will show you accordion how it will works. Actually, it is a group of containers which you can toggle. Toggle means what? Once one is displayed, another one will be hidden. One is displayed, another one will be hidden. We can handle the toggle appearances, right? We can configure the toggle. Let's see how we can deal with such toggle accordions. And for that, what we have to do is, so we have to use the class class accordion is used to configure the container. Accordion is used to configure the container. We have to use accordion to configure the container. Let's see how accordion works, how to deal with accordion, and how do we handle this accordion. Right? We can see how the accordion works. Accordion works. For that, we need to design in a proper way. We need to design in a proper way. So let's create one example to design the accordion in a proper way. Let's see how we can handle this accordion. Okay, I will take an example here. Right? Let's take an example. Let's add another file. So say accordion.html. Accordion.html. And here we are configuring the accordion. So that means, so again, in order to use accordion, we need all those three headings same. We need all the three headings. Means in the head section, we need to include all the three. So one is Bootstrap CSS, another one is jQuery and bootstrap.jQuery and bootstrap jQuery file. Right. We need to include all these options so that we can handle them. Right. Let's see. Now, once you are configuring this, so inside the body section, we will put a div class as container, and in the container class, so we are configuring some contents. So here we want to design some collection of contents. So how we can design the collection of contents? Already, if you remembered, we discussed about cards. We will use the cards and configure the cards. By using the card style, we can manage that. Okay. How we will do is, we will keep a main div. This div will have a class called accordion. Accordion is a predefined Bootstrap class. And this accordion will have an ID. ID is suppose accordion demo. Okay, that is an ID, accordion demo. That means you can refer it by using it. Accordion demo is an ID. Okay. In this, we are keeping some contents. We want to keep some contents here. We can keep a lot of paragraphs of information also inside that. So then what we will do is, we will use our traditional method of class as card. I will use a card. And inside the card, we already learned. So card will have a card header. Okay. And for this card header, so we will give some ID. So that means we will configure some ID. So we will give an ID. ID is, for example, HTML topic is an ID. HTML topic is an ID for this card. Okay, this is the card header. Okay, and we will give a heading style here. We can keep buttons and links. So here we will add a heading, H2. Heading. In the heading, I want some content to be displayed. So here, heading, I will use a button inside that heading. And a button class as btn, and btn suppose danger. I'm using button and button danger. Okay, that is the button class. And type as button, type as button. So we are defining the type as button. So we are defining the type for this as button. We have a button type defined for it. Okay. Now, how to handle the toggles we will see later. That first let's design the content. Okay, this button will have so as HTML tutorial, HTML tutorial, right? Okay. Now let's run this and see initially its appearance is like this. And observe carefully if I give accordion. By default, accordion is having an appearance. And we have a card style here. Inside the card header, we have this HTML tutorial. And we can make it appear. We can make it appear complete. The button appearance can be complete. What we can do is we can simply define this as suppose I said BTN block. BTN block means that button will be up to end and content will be center aligned. So this is the header. Okay. This is the card. This is the card. Now what will happen is this is the card header. Under this card header, we will use a div, and for this class I will give as a collapse, and the ID for this collapse is ID is HTML collapse. It is HTML collapse. It is HTML collapse. We defined that HTML collapse. And here inside that collapse, we will use a div. So the div is class card body. That is the card body. And we are defining some paragraph information inside the card body. We are defining some paragraph information inside the card body. So let's keep some paragraphs information in the card body. One small paragraph information I kept inside the card body. Okay, copy the paragraph and keep that paragraph in the card body. And the main point here is the card body is present inside the collapse. The card body is present inside the collapse. And collapse is for HTML collapse. And this is for first card. One card we are having. And between the cards, there should not be space. Then what we can do is, so how we can display, we will see that. How to display and handle that, we will see that. So this is the general option here. Okay. And this is having the class collapse. Okay. And one card is finished. Let's design another card. This is one card. This is for HTML topic. Let's create another card. Usually it will display that paragraph here at the bottom. It will display. Because we given collapse, it is not showing it. And if you want to show by default any one, then what you can do is for that collapse, you can add a class called show. If I add a class called show, that means by default it will be displayed. By default it is displayed. If you don't add that show, that means it will be hidden. You can see it is hidden. By default, it is in hidden state. To display, we have to use show. Show will display it. Okay. That is one option. And important is we don't want much gaps between buttons. So here the button, we can use a class as MB0. That means MB0 means margin, bottom margin is 0. Bottom margin is 0 means it will reduce the bottom margin of button. Bottom margin is reduced. If I don't give button, some margin will be there. It's your wish. It is good if you give margin 0. MB 0, that means margin bottom 0. Okay, this is one card. Let's design another card. This card is finished. Let's design another card. What is it? Class as card. Okay, good. In this card, same, we will put a card header. Div, and this is having the class called card header. In the card header, same like the previous one, that is the card header. It should have an ID. So ID for this card header, we are giving as some CSS topic. That is the card header. And in this card header, we will keep a heading again. So class we will define as MB0. Okay. In the heading, we will put a button. So button class as BTN and BTN danger and BTN block. Okay. For this, here I will give as text as CSS examples. And under that CSS examples, so that is another button. This is another card header. We will keep another div, and this div will use a class called collapse, and this div will have a card body, class as card body. How you design is very important. How we design is very important. Okay, this is card body. Now important is same, you have to design like previous. So this card body so should have an ID. This is CSS collapse. So this is having an ID. So that is collapse and CSS collapse. That means we will give an ID for this as ID as CSS collapse. We have HTML collapse, we have CSS collapse. And inside the card body, I will put a paragraph. So inside the card body, I will keep another paragraph. So one more paragraph is there. And you can see another button is available. And by default, if I give show for this collapse, it will also show. I will use the show for the collapse. It will display the show also, right? We can define it. So you can add the collapse option also, right? So we have these options defined. We can hide them. So in order to hide them, we can remove that show so that it will be hidden. That means you can see the topic under it is not there. It is hidden. The topic under that is hidden. Okay, right, fine. Now what we have to do is similarly we can create other options also. That means any number of options we can define in the same way, right? So what I will do is I will copy this card. This is the card, right? We are copying that card, and that is all the card related option. Okay. And I will keep that card. Another card I will paste here. This is third card. Okay, for that I will change this. This I will change to as a JavaScript topic. That means JS topic. That is that. And here I will give the button as a JavaScript tutorial. Okay. And here we have the ID defined as JS collapse, JavaScript collapse. And it is also having some paragraph, but it is not displayed. You can see another also there. That means now we have 3 topics. Only one content is displayed by default. Now let's add the logic here. Logic is nothing but when I click the first button, what should happen? That means when I click the first button, it should toggle collapse and target. First button, click what should happen. So let's go to the logic here. So this is HTML topic button. This is button click. On this button click, what should happen? So we have to write options. What are those? First option is we have to write data toggle. Data toggle. Data toggle is equal to, it has to toggle collapse. That's good. It should toggle collapse. And what is the data target? Data target. Which collapse it has to use? It has to use the collapse name. The collapse name is HTML collapse. That means data target should be hash HTML collapse. Because that is the ID na, we have to use hash HTML collapse. That is the ID we have defined. That means it should work for that particular collapse. That's okay. That is how we have defined the content. So that is the target we are configuring. Okay. The same you have to configure for other buttons also. Okay, let's go to the second card button. So second card button, observe here. Here also better you give button type as button. Okay. And the data toggle. Data toggle, it should work for collapse. And the data target, which collapse? CSS collapse. That means we have to use data target. Data target. CSS collapse. We have to apply for CSS collapse. That's fine. Now let's go to the next part. Third card button. So for the third card button also, I will give type as button. Okay. And data target, data toggle collapse. Which collapse? It has to work for JS collapse. That means it should work for data target hash JS collapse. So target, make sure that you are giving a hash CSS collapse. Its ID na. IDs are referred by using hash CSS collapse and hash JS collapse. The references is very much important to define. Okay. Once you configured this, now see the accordion behavior, how it will work. Refresh and I click on CSS examples and CSS examples will expand. I will click on JavaScript tutorial. JavaScript tutorial will expand. JavaScript tutorial will expand. And I click on this, they will hide the topics. They will hide the topics and display the topic. I click on CSS example. So the CSS example will come. And the toggle, it has to hide that. JavaScript, it has to hide, display that. So important here is, so it has to work based. Remember, when we are dealing with this, one more important is it has to work for the accordion. Actually, currently they are not working for accordion. If they are not working for accordion, then what happens? You have to individually deal with them. You have to individually deal with them. We have to individually deal with them. So that means they have to work for accordion. That means all these collapses should work for accordion. So that means the div 1, first div, second div, HTML, CSS, JavaScript. See, once I click, that is shown. Others also shown. CSS examples, it is showing. It can be done without accordion also. It can be done without accordion also. Right? Now, all these collapses should work for accordion. That means, so what important is here? All containers are attached to accordion by using, they are attach it to accordion by using the attribute by using the attribute. So the attribute we have to use data parent. By using the data parent, we have to attach to that accordion. Data parent is equal to, it has to use, so it has to use the hash accordion name, accordion ID. It has to use that accordion ID. It has to use accordion ID. That means currently they look very normal. I click once, okay. Again click, it should hide. But see what happens now. I have to click on it and again click on it. If I click all of them, all are being displayed now. All are being displayed. But what should happen here is I have to put a target for them. That means observe carefully. This collapse, first go to first one. This is collapse. This collapse should work for accordion. It should work for accordion. If it has to work for accordion, what is the ID for accordion? Accordion ID is accordion demo. That means here we have to use an attribute. So that is data parent. We have to use data parent is equal to hash accordion name. So what is that accordion name? Accordion name is accordion demo. That means accordion demo. We have to define that. For all collapses, we have to use data parent. That means for the next collapse, this is CSS collapse, we have to use an attribute data parent hash accordion demo. Similarly, next third collapse, JS collapse, it has to use data parent. So hash accordion demo. We have to define like this. Now what happens when you define the parent? You can see by default HTML is there. I click on CSS examples, then automatically it will hide HTML. I click on JavaScript tutorial, automatically it will hide CSS. I click on CSS, only CSS will come, JavaScript will be hidden. HTML tutorial, it will display HTML tutorial, right? So toggle is working, but if I give parent, what will happen is I click CSS, then automatically it will hide HTML. If I click JavaScript, automatically it will hide that content. That means we can keep reasonable headings inside them to understand that those are related to those topics. That means what we are doing is here in the card body, we are giving a heading as a CSS. This is HTML, and in this I am giving a heading as CSS, and in this I am giving a heading as JavaScript. Now due to this, what happens now, you can see this is HTML tutorial. I click on CSS examples, automatically it will hide that HTML. I click on JavaScript tutorial, it will automatically hide that CSS. I click on HTML, it will hide the JavaScript and it will go. Automatically they will be hidden, and you can display such sliding contents and configure such sliding contents. So this is how we can configure and define an option called accordion. We have to use accordion. And parent is very important. If I don't use parent, usually what happens is, so by default they will work independently. That means when I click one, the next one will not be collapsed automatically. But now what will happen if I click one? What accordion will do is already displayed one, it will hide and it will show this one. So that's good. This style is called accordion. This kind of style you will see regularly. In websites, you can see such accordion styles regularly. So the purpose of accordion is to show and hide the content. It can be any large content you can keep inside it, right? I just used a basic card style and appearance for that. You can keep a lot of things inside it, pictures, tables, anything. We can even design menus also like this. That we will see in a separate example. Menus also we can design like that. That means I click on that category. The subcategories will be displayed under it. So a menu style, toolbar style also can be designed by using these accordions. So this is two important things we have learned. One is how to design a collapse and how to design an accordion. These are the two major options. So for accordion, so example is this. Example, this is an example for accordion. So Bootstrap looks very simple, but it is not as simple as you think. Many times you will face a lot of issues. You will not able to handle them immediately. They look like very simple topics, but if you miss one alignment placement, if you miss one small attribute, it is not going to work properly. So another problem is if there are any problems in Bootstrap, it will not show those errors that you haven't mentioned this class, you haven't mentioned this attribute. Errors will not come. Only script related errors comes if they are not included. That's the reason. So many times when you are practicing, so you should be very careful in using these attributes, references, IDs and all, right? Then you can handle. So that is Bootstrap accordion. Now, few more important components are there in the Bootstrap. Navigation bars, drop downs, paginations, popovers, spinners, how we can handle them. Those all we will discuss in the next session. Tomorrow we will see that. In 3-4 sessions, we will finish all this Bootstrap concept. Then we will start working with JavaScript. Right? It will take 3-4 more sessions to complete all these Bootstrap related concept. Then we can start working with JavaScript now. Right? After Bootstrap, we will see JavaScript. So tomorrow we will continue with this. Okay? Thank you.